News subscribers, and then Nathan J. Robinson, who is a lefty who runs Current Affairs magazine, put this up on the screen. He says they've seen a 900% increase in the rate of new Current Affairs subscribers over the last few days. He says people know independent left media tells them the truth, other outlets delude them, and more vital than ever in combating right-wing propaganda. So there's some, some interesting energy that is out there kind of on the left looking for independent outlets that people feel more effectively report the news and, share their worldview, and also are like with Lever News. I mean, these guys are doing actual journalism, Ryan obviously, and Jeremy doing really important actual journalism over a job site. And it's stuff that the mainstream press has largely completely ignored, like accountability journalism, and with Ryan and Jeremy in particular, big focus on foreign affairs. So kind of an interesting shift that's happening there over on the on that side.
I can only hope. And look, Russiagate saved their ass last time, because this happened last time around too. But this time, I don't know. You can tell me psychologically, it just feels very different.
Oh,
Last time, it was a shock. Trump was a shock. If you're too young
could not imagine
to remember, I will never forget. So I was up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, election night. We were working at the Daily Caller office. Went home, grabbed a couple hours of sleep, got on the metro. The next morning, came to work. It was the death. It was like 9/11. Like I was too young to remember what it was like to be an adult, but that's what I could imagine. It was like to have been around the day after 9/11.
Yeah, when I was walking through the airport, I had the same vibe.
Yeah,
like people were just
I was like, this is insane. Yeah, this is insane.
Shocked.
This time, yeah, it was just like, it's normal. Also, there's no cope this time. He won the popular vote. He won all the swing states. It wasn't narrow. It was a blowout.
There's no Comey. There's no Russia.
No letter. Like they left it all out on the field and they got their asses kicked. And so if anything, there's like a reckoning of like, all right, well, we lost to him twice in 8 years.
This was not a one-off.
Yeah,
it was not a fluke. It's
right.
not a we're gonna get him next time. No.
Yeah.
In the end, he got away with all the stuff and he won.
And he won. Yeah, and not just won, like he won the popular vote. Like that's a mandate. I remember, everyone was like, how can this possibly be it? Look at the RNC. We were talking earlier about immigration. They held up signs that said mass deportation at the RNC. Don't be surprised when mass deportation happens. He stood up in front of a sign the day before election. There were only 2 things that said behind him: end migrant crime and mass deportation. America knew what it was voting for, 100%. So it's one of those where, to them, that's unimaginable to the liberal mind, but now they have to grapple with that. And it's one of those where they're like, what do we do? And the truth is, MSNBC has no coherence to explain that strategy.
That's correct.
And it's because, and look, you can give a left, analogy. I have plenty of disagreements. We'll continue to talk over the next 4 years, but there's a coherence to what you're offering, to what Kyle is offering, to what even the PodSave guys, to what they're offering.
True.
But there is no coherence to MSNBC Morning Joe liberalism that offered a path and got blown out by the American electorate.
That is such a key point because the Kamala Harris campaign, they ran the Morning Joe campaign. It was run exactly like Joe Scarborough would want it run.
Yes.
Right? The embrace of frickin' Liz Cheney, the obsession with never Trump Republicans, the constant shunning of the base and anything that they would want, the constant shilling for Israel and really basically smearing your own base as a bunch of anti-Semites for wanting a ceasefire and wanting peace. They ran that campaign, and Joe Biden ran that campaign, and Hillary Clinton ran that campaign. And Joe Biden ekes out a win, barely, at a time when Trump's approval ratings were in the toilet. People were getting killed during COVID. It was a mess, and you barely eked out a victory. Now it's like, wow, this whole universe, especially the MSNBC, CNN universe in particular, but also the Washington Post, New York Times universe, your view of the world was wrong. It was wrong. It was repudiated. What you told us was going to work, what you promised that these were the people who were electorally viable and this was the path and these were the, issues and this is how they should talk about it. It's they did all of that and they lost. They got blown out. And not only that, but you told us that Donald Trump was an existential threat, and you did not act like it. You did not act like it. I mean, especially like Joe Scarborough. These people were running cover for Joe Biden and still trying to keep him in the race after that debate. They wanted a 400 electoral college vote blowout. So I think there's just a very justified loss of confidence, not only in those institutions, but in that worldview entirely. So, I mean, it creates an opening. you know, that clearly like places like Lever News, Drop Site, and others are, you know, are there to fill. And this whole conversation about like, oh, the Democrats need their own ecosystem, whatever. It's like, listen, it may not be as big as the right or as well funded as the right, but it's not like there is no one in the left of center podcast space. It's just that you've spent most of your time like ignoring, shunning, smearing, minimizing that world. And I think, you know, that probably is somewhat going to change. The last thing, just as mentioned, which is kind of funny, Chris Wallace is apparently leaving CNN. We put this up on the screen. Wasn't there, what was he there, 4 years?
Yeah.
3 years?
About 3. So he came for CNN Plus.
Yes. Oh, I remember. I remember.
Apparently, though, it's kind of misleading when they say he quit CNN. What happened is that they offered him a pay cut, and they were like, "You can stay, but you're gonna have to take a massive pay cut."
And his ego could not.
And he was
that.
like, "Oh, I can't handle that." I mean, he was getting paid like $7 million.
Well, this was actually a very
nuts.
smart way for him to frame this, to be honest with you, because he was like, you know what, this cable news thing.
No, that's bullshit.
This is tired.
Yeah.
Like streaming is where it's at.
No.
I'm gonna go out and do like the podcast thing, which good luck.
It's BS.
Good luck.
Yeah, first of all, his show was awful on CNN.
The
It
only
had very
reason
low ratings.
anyone watches almost any of these people is just because it's like it's on in the background.
Yes, exactly.
And that's it.
It's
There's no
airport
like,
television.
I'm tuning in for Chris Wallace.
Yes.
That's not really
He had a very
thing.
low-rated show. He tried to do all these weird interviews with pop culture figures.
Yeah, that was
He
very
completely lost
strange.
his lane. Never should have last Fox News Sunday. So yeah, I mean, look, he's like a 70-something-year-old man. Like
Just
he'll be
retire
fine.
at this
Yeah,
point,
exactly.
right?
Retire,
He's got
bro.
plenty of money.
Multi-millionaire. Your father was famous. I'm sure it hurts not to be as good as your dad. It's okay. You know, you're an old man. You've had enough time to reconcile it at this point. Just ride off into the sunset. All right, leave it to us. We'll continue to fight here.
I like imagining him like over on Twitch trying to compete with like Hassan or
Yeah,
something.
it's incredible, right? And you and I both know
I like
how
that.
that's
I would like him to try that. Actually.
Yeah,
I'd
ask
like
Don
to see
Lemon how
that.
it's working out for him, right? Okay.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show. Help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.